Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Look, when you're trying to go after that $80,000 Navy Federal Flagship account, okay, there's 5 factors you have to understand that you have to deal with, okay? Number one is even just to become a member, all right? Now, many of us, we heard that you can buy an access number. Do not do that, all right? That's a no-no. All right, because you can get yourself caught up for fraud on that one. But number two is that if you share a same address with somebody that's a member of Navy Federal, you can actually join that way. Okay, that's the easiest legal way. You don't want to join them illegally. All right. Number two, okay, is in reference to Navy Federal. I continue to tell you, because they have an internal score, you have to have multiple accounts. Now, I always tell you there's 3 main accounts that I would tell anybody that's trying to join Navy Federal that make sure you have, okay? Number one is direct deposit. Now, here's the thing about it. When you sign up with Navy Federal with direct deposit, this shows long-term relationship, okay? That's the first thing, okay? You're showing a commitment. Now, for you guys that are entrepreneurs, the thing about it, for you to be able to set up direct deposit, you need to set up payroll. So if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a registered company and you don't have payroll, then it's going to make it more challenging. All right. Now, here's the thing about it. Remember, with Navy Federal, you don't necessarily have to have a job to get this $80,000 card. That's right. You don't have to have a job to get this $80,000 card. All right. And so what I mean is working a regular W-2. Long as you're able to show deposits. And actually, there's ways that you can actually finesse that as well. But I'm not going to tell you about that because I want you all to do it the right way. All right? That's for my private group. Now, here's the thing about it. When you, okay, join Navy Federal, if you set up direct deposit, then you set up the checking account, right? Now, I told you, with the checking account, if you don't have the flagship checking account, make sure that you have at least 20 transactions with the regular checking account that makes up for the flagship checking account. All right. So that's another thing. Now, here's something else in reference to, I still tell you to make sure that you have the pledge loan. Okay. The pledge loan, the reason is having a loan or secured loan, because what most people end up doing, they may go out and they'll start applying for all of these credit cards and stuff like that. Now, the good part about Navy Federal, they're not inquiry sensitive. I have seen people with 8 inquiries on their TransUnion. By the way, Navy Federal pulls TransUnion FICO 9, okay? And so one of the key things that I would definitely tell you, since they do pull FICO 9, make sure that you add the rental payments. Make sure that you add an authorized user. Now, here's another key that's going to help you as well, even if you have bad credit. Add an authorized user that's actually a Navy Federal authorized user, okay? This really helps you with your internal score as well. Now, remember, the internal score is only good for credit cards. It has nothing to do with loans. So that's the reason why I tell you, like with the pledge loan won't help you get a personal loan, okay? So that being said, in terms of the internal score going from 100 up to 450, trying to get that internal score up to 325, 350. And if you don't know what the internal score is, you can actually call Navy Federal and they should be able to tell you what your internal score is. Just remember, it's just for credit cards, all right? So now, what people have been doing is once they get approved for a unsecured card, okay? Once they get approved for the unsecured card, well, let me back up because this is going to help you too. They have a starter certificate. Starter certificate starts at about $50, all right? Having that starter certificate also helps with the internal score. Now, like I said, I deal with credit files all the time. So I'm knowing this data. I'm knowing what they pull, what it is that they started out with, what the credit score with was. Okay. That's the reason I know for sure that when you have a 580 credit score, that Navy Federal will still give you 25,000. All right. The thing about it is that with people, they jump the broom not jump the broom, that's if you get married, but jump the gun, all right? If they jump the gun, then they end up getting denials. One, once they join Navy Federal, they will automatically start trying to apply for credit card. Don't do that, especially when you have bad credit. You want to wait the 91 days, okay? So having multiple accounts with them, making sure that you're doing regular deposits. Make sure that you're doing weekly deposits. I don't care if it's $25 a week. Make sure that you're doing regular deposits. And here's the key. What I would do, if I was able to do $50, I put $25 in my checking account, plus with your payroll, and $25 in the savings account. All right. Then wait the 91 days and then apply. Okay. A lot of people end up jumping the gun. And so if you have bad credit, of course, you want to do the secured card. Okay. Now, here's the thing about it with the secured card. Usually after 6 months of on-time payments, when you have bad credit, they will unsecure the card. Now, here's something else that people are not doing. All right. When it's your time to see if that card will unsecured, instead of getting a hard pull, all you have to do is go into the app. And I would tell you, I would update my income and I would update my rent. All right. The reason is when you have updated information, okay, especially like if you have a job and you know you have a side hustle. Also, another thing is that like when you have a spouse that's working, then you also should include that income as well. All right. That's something that a lot of people are not aware of. Now, something else that I must speak on that people are not aware with Navy Federal. Again, if that DTI, that debt to income ratio, go up to 55%, this is going to create challenges for you. Now, what I would do if I know that I have a lot of credit card debt before I apply for any credit card, including the Flagship credit card with Navy Federal, I would try to find a lender that I can borrow some money from to pay down the credit card debt. So that would be like low credit finance since they go up to 50,000. You have max personal loans. They go up to 50,000, okay? Because they work with tribal lenders. So they're not holding your feet to the fire in terms of your credit score. They're looking at mainly your availability to actually pay back the loan, okay? And these here loans do not show up on the personal credit, okay? However, you do have to verify that you have an active checking account, okay, in order to qualify for these. Now, here's the thing about it with these type of lenders is that they are going to use third-party credit bureaus, okay? And so with these third-party credit bureaus, they're going to have outdated information. So like say that you just move to a new address, and that's the address that you open up your Navy Federal checking account with, okay? When you use that address to get a loan from like low credit finance or max personal loan, then what ends up happening, because they use the third-party credit bureaus like DataX, Clarity, Factor Trust, LexisNexis, okay? When those third-party companies actually use pull those credit bureaus, they're not going to do a hard pull on the credit. They're going to pull from those. Say that you move from apartment A to apartment B. So whatever the oldest address is on the file, this is the address they're going to use. This is the reason why a lot of people end up being denied. And I continue to tell you with these here loans, I'm going to get back to the Navy Federal Flagship, but with these here loans that I tell you that are easy to get, is more likely it's because they have old, outdated data, and you need to pull your credit file or reach out to them and update your information so that way they can have accurate information. Now, another thing, if you have more than 2 loans, okay, if you have more than 2 loans, some of these lenders, they will deny you because of that. All right, I'm just giving you some insight so you can understand that these here lenders, and these are some of the most flexible lenders it is out in the market, because they use tribal lenders and stuff. So they're very flexible to get a loan, but you have to have that data right. Also, in terms of the income, I always tell you that the minimum income for these type of lenders, again, is going to be up to at least $1,000 or more after taxes in order to qualify for these type of lenders. Okay, so that being said, once you get a loan from these type of lenders, then what you would do, you would take that money and you would set your accounts up from smallest to largest, your open revolving accounts, because this is what Navy Federal is going to be focused on, and try to pay down as many of those to zero. Do not close the accounts out, but pay those down as much as possible, okay? Then what happens, because your utilization is going up, of course, your credit score is going to increase. All right. Now, again, you can get the Flagship with a 580 credit score. However, if you're reaching out for that $80,000, how Navy Federal is going to play it is that the first 90 days, they'll give you a unsecured card. Okay, so if you want to just bypass the secured card, open up multiple accounts and wait 90 days. Okay, so you can do the pledge loan, the checking account, the savings account, the smart certificate. Okay, so say you open up those multiple accounts and the direct deposit, and don't do anything, just make your deposits and also make your weekly deposit to your savings account. You're bypassing that secured card, okay, because of your internal score. So wait that 91 days and then apply. And you're going to see that they'll approve you for a regular card. They're usually going to start you out with the rewards card. However, okay, after that rewards card and you utilize that rewards card, then after 6 months, if you want to apply for that $80,000 Flagship card, you can apply for it. More likely, again, they're not going to give you $80,000. They're not going to give you $80,000 off bat, okay? So don't expect that. However, what you can do, you can continue asking for every 6 months a credit limit increase if that's the card you want. Now, here's something else. Once you have that card, you can choose either Visa or MasterCard. Now, why this is important is because now you're able to buy the prepaid debit card. You're able to get the prepaid debit card from Navy Federal and then transfer the money from your regular credit card, that Flagship credit card, over to that prepaid debit card, okay? And then you can use that money just like regular cash, because they don't give you, they will not give you convenience checks. Now, they will allow you to transfer up to a certain limit, usually up to 50% of that Flagship credit card over into your account. However, if you get the Gold prepaid card, then you can go over that 50%. All right. So this is something that way if you just need access to the cash. But in reference to that Flagship card, I always tell people I would not focus on that Flagship card. I would focus on getting the rewards card, The platinum card, the reason is because the interest rate is, I think it's on purchases and balance transfers, usually like 0.99. Okay, so you're almost not paying any interest for the first 12 months. All right, but what doing that strategy, again, what they'll do is they'll look at your accounts. If you're trying to get the flagship cards, what they'll do, if you already have limits on these other cards, then what they will do, they will transfer the balance from those other cards over to the flagship card. Now, again, you can apply for that flagship card, and they may give you $25,000. Then you have to wait every 6 months to request a credit limit increase up to that $80,000. So you have a couple of options in terms of getting that $80,000. All right, but just off the bat, expecting 80 racks from Navy Federal, it doesn't happen like that. Okay, you have to have strong income, and you have to have high limits. Okay, you have to have strong income, and you have to have a high credit score, I should say, if you're trying to get that 80 racks. But again, even at that point, because when I joined Navy Federal, I had an 800 credit score. I was bringing in $125,000 a year. Okay, and the thing about it, they gave me $75,000, but the $75,000, at that point I was brand new to Navy Federal. All right, but they did give me the platinum card for $25,000. They gave me a loan for $25,000, and then they gave me rewards for $25,000. That's how I got $75,000 by me first joining Navy Federal. All right. Now, again, to me, I think going after that flagship card, I don't think it's worth it. I would rather have multiple cards, because if anything happens or whatever, you have all of this debt. If you go over that 50% or that 30% utilization on that one card with $80,000 on it, that drops your credit score. However, if you have multiple cards with Navy Federal spreading that $80,000 off, now you go with 30% on this card, you're not going to see a bigger hit than what you do with just one card. So that's why I would not go after that $80,000 flagship card. So I hope this helps. If you have any question about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.